All right, the final drill in the grip series here, once we've advanced from the low rings to a feet supported vertical hang, is fully hanging without support. And so it's going to look like this.
I don't know if you can see my feet right now, but they are pressed forward. I am hollowed out. My belly is tight.
But squeezed all that business there in a full hang. And so just like the other drills, all my drills for the false grip hang are 1 to 3 sets, 15 to 30 seconds. 15 is the low end. As you can progress up to 30 seconds, it's time to move on. If you can get to the point where you're holding 3 sets of 30 seconds on an unsupported hang like this one, then you're doing pretty awesome, and we're probably going to start working false grip pull-ups. So that's all I have for the grip. Stay tuned to the other videos. Hey, what's up guys? Pat Burke at MBS CrossFit. This video is on the pull. So 4 parts of the muscle up: grip, pull, push, and transition. Pull is obviously an important piece of the muscle up. We got to get our body from below the rings and then up to the rings. So one thing I want to talk about with the pull, first of all, is how we pull. So as I'm hanging down, this is my imaginary single, stand by. It's my imaginary ring right here on one side. So how we pull here is I'm going to pull, I'm sure everybody's heard of core to extremity, so starting like it's all in the hips. This is common CrossFit knowledge, but so as I'm hanging here, I'm beginning at the closest parts to center, and I'm going to begin pulling them in. So in this case, my center here, the closest part is my shoulders. So I'm going to depress the shoulders. I'm going to pull them towards the center. And so that's the first piece of the pull. The next piece of the pull is my elbow. So then I'm going to pull my elbow down towards the center. In this case, you might think of pulling the elbow to the hip. And then the last piece is pulling my hand down. And that right there is where the finish of the pull should be, as close as you can bring it down towards your center, but it actually ends up being right here around the chest. That's a really important piece to know, is that that's how far we pull. Greg Glassman, side note, says that true pull-ups finish with the bar touching the chest. In this case, we're doing rings, but in either case, we're pulling all the way right down here to the chest. So that's how the pull goes down. My first drill that I have in my program is ring pull-ups. So it's a pretty standard movement, the pull-up here, but it's going to be done on rings. Let me demo. So obviously, all of this is strict work, okay? So we're trying to get stronger. The reps are going to be pretty low. We have 2 to 3 sets of 3 to 5 pull-ups. We are trying to get out every last bit of range of motion that we can. So really squeezing, probably a slight pause at the top. In this case, I was pulling my palms to chest. On some of the drills, I'll ask for palms away. When we go to a false grip maneuver, we'll probably end up pulling palms facing each other. None of it is like really a big deal. Obviously try to do what the drill is asking for, but it's all just basically to give you different looks on the pull. Palms away is a little bit more difficult. Palms neutral, we're pretty strong, but you're going to be in false grip. Palms in, we get the benefit of utilizing a little bit more bicep and arm, and so we can typically pull a little bit higher. In either case, again, we're always pulling shoulder, elbow down to the hip, and then hand last. Slight pause at the top, nice and slow, controlled down all the way out to the full relaxed position before, again, retracting the shoulder down. So that's the ring pull-up. Go. What's up, guys? All right, so the second drill in my pull series here is doing a false grip ring row. So this is right before we go to doing the false grip from the vertical rings and unsupported position up high. So it's just going to give us an idea of how it feels to hold the false grip while letting our arms out and then bringing them back in. So it's going to look like this. So pretty straightforward, kind of a dialed down pull with it happening right here. In the same way that I taught the other ring pull up, we want to think about retracting the shoulders first, pulling the elbows, and then lastly we have the hands. Nice and slow, controlled movement, body should be rigid. As you want to make this more difficult, we're just going to shift the feet further underneath the rings, making our body more inclined. 2 to 3 sets, 5 to 6 ring rows, nice and slow. You could add on a few more reps if you like, but really this is kind of an intermittent drill. If it's a little bit too much for you to do the pull up, just something to toss in there. Come down here. Chase me around. Going? Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? The last drill that we have in our pull series is the false grip ring pull-up. So we're putting the ring standard grip ring pull-up, the false grip ring row, and now we're going to the most difficult. We have a false grip ring pull-up. So we want to make sure before doing this drill, we are going to chalk up the heel of our hand. We will likely have a box right underneath the rings so that we can mount onto the rings with a proper false grip, and it's going to look like this. Two reps there. So false grips maintained. If you would like to utilize a little bit of fingers grabbing onto the underside of the false grips, that's fine. At this point in the game, this is probably a drill that you're going to be doing in week 2 or 3. We're probably getting pretty strong with maintaining our false grip, so we're not slipping out of it. And we want to remember that we're pulling our shoulders, then elbows, and then hands in that order. Slight pause at the top, and slow and controlled out. Keep the reps anywhere 3 to 5, 2 to 3 sets, and this is all going to set us up for getting that really high pull so we can transition over the top of the rings for our first muscle up. Boom.